All right. Hi guys, this is John Gaydos from Soul Performance. It is the winter off season here at Soul, and while we're not driving around, well, as you can see, we still kind of are. We wanted to concentrate on a little bit of educational content. 991 Turbo specifically this time. We want to talk a little bit about the stock exhaust and what offerings we have and what does what. So whether it's 991.1 or 991.2 turbos, Turbo S versus base, it's all the same. They all come with manifolds to the turbos. After the turbos, they go into a catalytic converter, which goes out of the cat and into a big muffler chamber that you have back here before it goes out to the exhaust tips, which when it comes to the stock exhaust system, I know a lot of guys are, pressing sport buttons or changing modes inside the car. They hear a little bit of a sound change. Keep in mind, there are no valves on any 991 turbo models, save for GT2 RS. That's its own unique animal. But there are no valves. So any changes that you're hearing are changes in software programming or any kind of sound composer that's active on that car in sport mode versus normal mode that's pumping more sound and induction noise into the cabin of the car. So stock exhaust, manifolds, cats, muffler, and what does what when you want to change things on the car. So when it comes to sound level and character change, you're going to get a lot of sound level and amplification out of changing cats of whatever you have downstream. So if you want the most conservative change on an otherwise stock car, you change out the catalytic converters on it, and that will increase the volume of your stock muffler, notably, but not too much. It is subtle, and you'll hear a little bit more turbo spool sound. The cats are also where most of the restriction is in terms of power out of the car. Nice big chunk comes out of the catalytic converters. You should be able to feel some more responsiveness out of the car. Now, the way you change those cats is you can do a set of link pipes such as these that have a much less dense catalytic converter core inside of them, while the precious metal content is up in order to keep the emissions scrubbing as well as they should. The density is down. That's what allows for more flow. That's what allows for more sound level. The manifolds on these cars are a restriction point mostly from a performance perspective. If you are, let's say, pretty astute, you have a good ear, when you change from a manifold like this, which is just 3 flow paths coming off of cylinders directly into a tiny skinny little chamber here in the middle where it collides, and it's forced down one pipe into a tiny little guy that goes into your turbo, which actually isn't even port matched to your turbo. When you go from something like this to a longer primary tube with a smoother collector here and a more port matched style opening to your turbo, you're going to increase performance. The flow going to the turbos are going to be much more efficient. They boost up a little faster. And the subtle thing from the sound perspective is that kind of smoothens out the tone a little bit because the pulses of each cylinders are more smoothly overlapping coming into the turbo. But because it's pre-turbo and the turbos are kind of like mufflers themselves, that is not as much of a difference in tone quality as you would find on a naturally aspirated car. So pre-turbo, post-turbo restriction, the cats right afterwards, now getting into the muffler assemblies. So this is a very restrictive stock muffler on volume, but you'll also have to keep in mind you have turbos in the middle of the exhaust flow. So changing this out and going to a more aggressive design is never going to have the sound level or that character of the flat 6 naturally aspirated Porsche. But what can we do? So there are different ways and designs of going about doing this. You see very easy, quick crossover style pipes that are out there. We feel that's a little bit, let's say, more raw than what the tone quality that we're going after. So we like to blend exhaust flow a little bit between both banks. So we offer non-valved X pipes, which are modular, which means they will fit to the cats, they will fit to stock tips. And this is probably your best bang for the buck in terms of overall character and tone quality change, in addition to volume. Because of how restrictive this is, you will get a good volume change out of this. In addition, this is a pretty sophisticated design. Not only do you have this big chambered X pipe in the middle so you can maintain your volume of flow from each bank, it is merging and balancing pulses in here, which helps bring down that drone, that resonance at low RPMs that some of these cars can get if you're sensitive to those kind of things. We also have 4 resonators on this X pipe, which also helps smooth out tone and reduce drone, while it's straight through. And you know, Evan, you can make a little cutaway there so you can see the inside of these resonators. You can roll a ball right through them. There's nothing slowing that flow down. Now, if you want something a little bit more aggressive than an X pipe, but with the ability to turn it off and fly under the radar, whether you're coming through a neighborhood or, you know, there's a cop in the same spot as usual, please notice that we do have a valved exhaust system as a new product. So it's very intricate trying to get a valves open flow path on these cars that still maintains an aggressive note on a valved configuration, because remember, you still have residual flow going through that valves closed flow path even when the valves are open. So in order to get that volume difference and maintain some aggressiveness, we had to change the blend style of this X pipe. It might look like it's an X pipe, but it is a non-blending primary flow path off of both, but with a blend pipe down here to help smooth out tone quality, similar to a fully blended X pipe, but not quite, because having this not blend fully in an X pipe results in more sound level for when the valves are open, with some residual flow going through the valve's closed flow path. And now when the valves are in the closed condition, flip it over here, we have the exhaust going through 2 resonators and then going into a blended section here before rejoining and going back out to the exhaust tips. And I will tell you, in all the test driving we've done, this has a quiet mode and it has an aggressive mode. As much so as we can get out of a turbocharged application without it being naturally aspirated. It's got a nice, good, smooth, refined tone quality, and it is a tangible delta between closed and open. Also note that the valves are located not right by the end of the valves open flow path. The reason the valves are located where they are on this system is so anytime you have valves in an exhaust, especially if it's a very short flow path, you get valve movement sound. You can get flutter, you can get chatter. This is very prevalent on factory Porsche exhaust systems, especially GT2 RSs. You can kind of hear the valves. Some people don't like that. So part of our design is moving the valves inward on the flow so that sound of the valves in action is dampened by the rest of the exhaust system. So this is a pretty sophisticated system that we went through, I think, 6 or 7 different versions of before we settled on this, and we're quite happy with it. So again, quick recap: subtle, smooth tone character change out of the headers with some performance. The cats are the amplifiers. You can do a high flow catted option. You can go more aggressive with a competition style for track use, where the cats are tuned out professionally for track use only. And then that leads into the midsection, the muffler replacement in either the non-valved configuration here or the valved configuration here. I hope that gives you guys a little bit of education to work off of. Very importantly, how do you operate the valves? How could I forget about how to operate the valves? We have a valve controller kit. That valve controller kit taps into power, vacuum, and ground on the car. It comes with key fobs for on-off, manual, on the fly. However, the signal from the key fobs also syncs with the HomeLink garage door buttons inside the car. So you can actually use 2 of your existing HomeLink buttons, one for closed and one for open, even if you don't want to use the key fobs. And then if in case you ever get that disconnected with a battery change or something like that, all you got to do is follow the same process as your garage door opener syncing process, and that will resync them back to your HomeLink buttons. So that is that's how that works. That's how you control it. So yeah, I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to give us a holler. We love talking cars. We love helping make an educated decision. If there are variables that you need to consider that weren't touched in this, let's say, relatively brief explanation video, we're happy to chat about it. We're all very familiar with them and drive them all the time. We'll help you make the right choice to buy the right product the first time. So signing off. Have a great rest of your off season in winter, and catch you later. Bye.